Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Samuel Robinson here, and welcome to AfterBurn. I know a lot of you are probably wondering, are we going to be doing AfterBurn tonight? Absolutely. This is our virtual green room where we kind of process with everybody what's going on. And I'm going to be messaging. I'm going to get on here and just kind of get it out there to our different social media channels here. So, guys, let's process tonight. Let's go clockwise. I'll start with you, Wesley. How did you feel about tonight? Talk to me.
Tonight was really awesome, just as far as the way like the anointing opened up. There was a lot of synergy in the room, I guess is what I would say. Like one puts 1,000 to flight, two puts 10,000 to flight, where we able to build off of one another, and I think that's like important in ministry. I think it was your dad who presented the question as far as like when would you see like a group of ministers all at one time.
That's cool.
Ministering together. Like you don't see that like in the conference, circuit or like where everybody's all up at once, and they're like, who's going to say, but there's this grace where it allows us to kind of like yield to one another or preference one another to allow the Spirit of God to move through each individual as they would move so that they have the freedom. It's not like a whole lot of people just constantly stepping on toes.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
So,
I love it. I'm just reading the comments. Loved Ivan's word about Jesus and the fireballs.
I've never seen anything like that before.
I know.
Really
I thought that was. I thought that was
check
neat.
it out.
The
Right here.
fireballs.
That's the one. It was that fireball.
That's when my dad actually has an idea. Ding.
Yeah.
All right. What about you, Ivan? How'd you feel tonight? This is your first night on E-Revival. I've had you
Really?
on our show. Yeah,
Good.
our show with Ivan was really good. I did the most of the talking, so it made it really good.
You carried me.
No. Actually, that was probably one of my favorite ones on the prophetic and the culture of the prophetic, working with churches. And no, that was really good. But tonight, man, was special. So I want to ask you, like, how did you feel? Talk to me.
I think all of us, I can speak for us because we're all doing this. We treat these broadcasts like services. Like I don't treat this any differently than I would a conference I'm speaking at or church. And I felt this like mix of joy and seriousness, almost like we're going to do kingdom work tonight. And the thing that I love and I love is when you get a company like you guys that all have different anointings, miracles, but there's a prophetic thread with all of us. The company of the prophets, I feel like the anointing, it just increases. And so I was over here trying not to be distracting, but I was having my own seer realm encounters with the Lord.
Come on.
While you guys were releasing stuff. And I almost had to shift like, okay, Ivan, you can go into this realm with the Lord after the broadcast because you're here to minister to people. There was something of what you were carrying together corporately and faith being released where, I was caught up in this encounter with these wings were just, it was fun and I could have stayed in there. And not that God doesn't do that with me sometimes, but I really felt like it had to do with the commingling of anointings. And I think for people that watch these broadcasts, and I totally understand the need for ministry and the desperation that people have, we get that. But the part that I always explain is you can receive impartation just where you're at. And so in the same way, I feel like my prophetic was going up being around you guys. People that are watching, they could just actually step into that same spout where the glory comes out and start seeing. And so for me, it was a lot of fun seeing people healed. I mean, the salvations come on.
Amazing.
Come on. I felt like God was touching me. Like I was having experiences here. So for me, it was awesome.
if I can say this too, first and foremost, again, if you're just joining us tonight, welcome to AfterBurn. This is like our virtual green room. And we're so thankful that you're a part of this tonight. And this is kind of where we process, we joke around. And so it's a little bit different. I felt like, like Ivan, you were saying, there was such a joy and a seriousness at the same time. And I always feel in those moments, God loves to, he's doing business. Like, he's got a plan for the night. And I feel like we accomplished that plan tonight. And so today, here we are, we're going to be celebrating, Ben, you've been on with us every time and you've been rocking it. And talk to me about tonight.
Yeah, I mean tonight, as far as Chelsea and I were feeling, we were feeling really the joy of the Lord. We were feeling, just a time of celebration and to move in the opposite spirit, because there's a lot of heavy stuff going on in society. And there's a lot of things that, we feel that we needed to shift our focus away from and on to the Lord. And really, only be preoccupied by his presence. And I think that that's like such a big thing, not even like looking necessarily for some kind of like hear my heart on this. Like a lot of us, when we're thinking about, Pentecost and this weekend and what's going to happen, there's this tendency to forget what already has happened. And I really feel like God really wants us to walk in the freedom that we've been given. And so what we felt to do was just to celebrate what already is. It's not like we're necessarily waiting for anything else. We're actually, God showed it to me like this one time. It's like when we get saved, we move into this brand new house that we've never been in before. And there are all of these boxes that it's like God is prepared. And he took me to Ephesians 2:10, we are his workmanship, created for good works that he's laid out beforehand that we would walk in them, right? Or, where it talks Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give you hope in a future. So when we get saved, we enter into this house that's like a new creation, and we start unpacking these boxes with the Lord, and it's a greater revealing of who we are. And sometimes I had a vision one time of this, and it's like I had this red table in my kitchen, and I'm like, I would never pick a red table, but I love it. All of a sudden, I was in love with this piece of furniture that I didn't pick, but it's like God chose it, and now it's there, and now I love it. So if that makes sense, I just feel like as we enter into, this new season, there's a greater revealing of who we are as sons and daughters, what's available already, and God is giving us the permission to just go.
Come on, that's so good. Talk to me. No, you know what? I'm gonna be nice today. I'm gonna be nice, but Dad, how did you feel?
I thought you forgot his name or something.
No. I got blinded by the light in the back
there.
Talk to
me,
over there, whoever
you.
The guy, dude.
The guy.
And so, what was your question, Sammy?
Your shirt. It's mesmerizing, Dad.
Yeah, well, it's
Dad. Leopards get jealous of that right there. My goodness, look at that thing.
Oh Lord.
Dad, you know what that is, Dad? You could hide behind a crossword puzzle and go invisible. That's what happened right there.
Thanks, Sammy.
Look at that. That's
man.
your super. Dad, that could be, if there was a superpower for crosswords, you'd be crossword man right now. Like, I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. I love it. But Dad, talk to me about tonight.
Thank you, Sammy, for that wonderful introduction. No, it was I had a scripture that I was going to read, and I feel it's for the season we're in on the earth. Ivan alluded to it. I think alluded to what's going on. There's, we've been in many churches and services and conferences where the glory of God has come. The joy of the Lord comes. I was at a meeting. Actually, I was at a conference with Mom and in Singapore.
I love that this group knows it's AfterBurn, so they're giving it to. This is a great group.
Sammy's mom, I'm talking about, Mom.
Yeah.
And we were in Singapore, and for the first 3.5 days, they had like 5 sessions a day. Sammy knows how it is, like 5 intense sessions a day. Start at 6, end at 11. It's just 5 sessions, like wide open, an hour and a half to 2 hours each in between prayer. And we had 3.5 days of like heavy duty holiness preaching like I've never heard before, right? And it was good holiness preaching, but it was like holiness upon holiness. And we had about 1,100 people. At least 400 of the people in Singapore had come from China, from the underground church, and most of them had dreams. There was a couple that were both doctors. She had 4 dreams. Her husband had 7 dreams that they had to be in that conference. So after 3.5 days of weeping and gnashing of teeth, I'm talking about holiness preaching that just shaved the hair off your head. I mean, these guys without holiness, and the weeping, they must have gone through 200 boxes of Kleenex.
Beautiful.
Like weeping.
Was Wesley preaching?
And no.
Starting already, huh?
He makes people cry when he preaches a lot.
So I was sitting there, and it was my turn in about 50 minutes, and I thought, man, okay, well, I thought I came to release the glory and the joy, right? And so I started making notes about holiness. So I'm going to preach a little on holiness here, because the joy ain't going to work today. That's what I was figuring. So I'm sitting there, and God says to me, "What are you doing?" And first of all, if God doesn't know what you're doing, you're in trouble. That I learned that a long time ago. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to preach on holiness." He said, "I didn't bring you here to preach on holiness. I brought you here to preach on the glory and joy, and that's what you're going to minister." And I'm thinking, so did you ever wait? God speaks to you, sort of waiting for that moment to pass. You're like, okay, well, I'll just mention it, because I'm not going to preach it, but I'll mention it. I mean, I'm thinking glory and joy. How's it? Literally, you guys, 1,100 people weeping, just water everywhere, just weeping. Hard holiness, every preacher. And so when it was time for me to preach, I didn't even get 10 feet away from the pulpit. The glory of God hit that place. I started speaking in tongues, and the joy of the Lord hit these Chinese people, 1,100 wonderful Chinese people. They were cement stairs with no carpet. They were rolling down the cement stairs and
oh my gosh.
People were laughing and laughing. The whole place went. 1,100 people started laughing. The joy came. I did 4 sessions. All I did was speak in tongues. The glory and the joy came. But here's the deal. And sometimes the joy of the Lord is not an emotion. It is the fruit of the Spirit, but will affect your emotions positively. It's awesome. A merry heart or a joyful heart does good like a medicine. Mm-hmm. But there's a scripture here in Psalms chapter 2. Now, therefore, be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. If there's ever a time to pray for judges, talking natural judges on the earth right now, then they need to be instructed by God to make the right decisions. But listen to this. It says, serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling.
There it is.
Come on.
Rejoice with trembling. And so I tell people, the more joy.
Keep going, Dad. We're experiencing joy right now.
It'd be way better if I was just on my own screen here, but that's okay. I have these other gentlemen.
Dad, can I tell you, we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that.
You couldn't do what?
We couldn't give you a whole screen.
It looks like secret squares.
That shirt, Dad, that shirt would put people into epileptic shock.
Oh, exactly.
I'm sorry.
Well, I thought it was rather tasteful.
It is tasteful. It's tasteful. I think, Dad, 34. Dad,
shirt with a
30. Dad, 34 down is joy. So just letting you know.
No. John Bevere is 34 down. John Bevere.
I gotta say, if we're talking about clothes, I got a blue tee and a Toronto Blue Jays Canadian hat on today, but so I'll be careful. I'll be careful because I know we're chilling here, but. Oh, Dad, that was really good. That was really good. By the way, you can purchase the CD after this session tonight, and I have to be careful. Oh, Lord, help me. We just saw God move. Look at that bobblehead. My goodness.
Now, everybody, I want you to know this. I bring this. This is an anointed bobblehead. My son and his wife had this made for me. And I was singing at the time the butter and the cream, and so it actually says it has Job 29:6.
Awesome.
That's an anointed bobblehead. Sometimes I do the Stacey Campbell, right?
Yeah,
sometimes
it's true.
I do the Wesley Campbell, and sometimes I do the Wesley Roderick.
What was that?
Hold on.
It looked like the spirit of Bambi.
Why Bambi? So, Charlie, people want to know, they've been asking, inquiring minds want to know, is the same shirt available for the bobblehead?
Listen, I have this shirt. I have the shirt and the vest, the identical shirt and vest. And we're thinking of, Sammy, what do you think? The pants I wore at the knees, so I don't have them anymore. But the shirt I actually have. Now, if you were to look at the handiwork of that shirt, you would see how well this hand painted.
I know, it's amazing.
And the vest is identical.
100%.
Accessories for it.
Now, can I see? I got to see though, Dad. Can you lift it up just a little bit more? The bobblehead. Let me see the shirt. See, here's the problem with that shirt, ladies and gentlemen. That shirt is actually a little bit too short for my dad.
Which
And
shirt?
so that shirt, that green shirt. And so I got to tell you a story. There was about 3 or 4 conferences, Dad, where you got really excited and you started lifting up your hands.
share
And all I can say is that there were shorts that were being shown as you were preaching.
No.
It was quite amazing. It was incredible. So
That was another guy, Sammy.
just to let you know, that shirt, I think they did a good job because they kept the shirt short too, so that's perfect. But
It is a large cup too. Huh?
Now, you know what? I wore t-shirts and a shirt generally.
oh, you guys help us. I know there's people defending you though, so it's good, Dad. There are
thank
people
you. Those that
defending
are
you.
defending me.
I like
like
it
your
too.
shirt.
I do too.
Thank you.
Ivan, is that a camo hat?
It is a camel hat. I was
looks-
wondering how come your hat has a marijuana leaf on it there for a minute.
No.
Bro, can I
It's a
tell you right
ministry
now?
night.
Bro, can I
This
tell
is
you
a
right now?
ministry night.
Dude, I look at your hat and I think, my goodness, I think Ivan could be a model for Dick's Sporting Goods. Like, look at that. Like, doesn't he look like the guy? He looks like the guy that's there holding the gun. He's never shot anything in his life, but he looks cute. It looks good. And
He
so welcome,
looks cute, he
welcome to
says.
Medford. Welcome to Medford, Oregon. It's really look at that country pop culture, ladies and gentlemen.
The Bass World. What is that? That Bass shop? What is the name of that? Somebody's
Bass Pro Shop. Thank
Bass
you.
Pro.
You look like that's you. You just need to be in an angler, position with the rod and the yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Like a model.
Perfect.
You know what you need, Ivan? You need a Rick Joyner vest.
Joiner vest.
Like, so you can go fly fishing. You can redo a river runs through it. Like all sorts of stuff.
Hey, Wesley, can I I'll tell everybody the story. I'm going to leave out some names, but I was just there. I just visited there. Remember, Sammy, when Rick Joyner came to speak at our conference in Abbotsford?
Sorry, Dad. Dad, 1 second. Someone asked, I like how everyone has a hat except for Charlie. They don't make a hat that size.
Oh, I don't have a, Wesley doesn't have a hat. What are you talking about?
I had one on
hat
for a
that size?
second.
Wesley, where'd you get that hat from?
You know what? Sammy is part
I
of
have a few hats over to the side. This is my fourth
right.
broadcast today, okay?
I have a large head at the top because finding hats are quite difficult. I'm 6'5". You need to have a little bit bigger head than normal, Sammy. So it's not.
Dad, all I can say is that, Dad, you invented the sombrero. That's the only thing I can say. Like, that was the biggest thing that was available. And so, ladies and gentlemen, thank Charlie Robinson for the sombrero.
Somebody
Yes.
wrote a comment over here. Wesley needs a hat too because his bald spot's showing.
Oh, Wesley, your bald spot. Man.
Hold on.
Rick Joyner.
Hold on. I'm looking for that comment.
Oh, I must have read it
He's
wrong.
gonna hunt you down.
I think Ivan read it wrong. He was thrown there. See what Ivan did there? That was perfect.
No, Ivan
That's
said-
what a model at a Bass Pro
Your
Shop would
bald
do right there. So
So
Just
Rick
watch
Joyner.
out for the bears.
I'm listening to you, Charlie. These guys are. I want to hear the story about Rick
Okay,
Joyner.
so we were hosting a conference, and so the guy hosting the conference had a really, really nice truck, a beautiful big truck, and decided to give Rick a ride along with Rick's assistant. And the place where it was in it. People don't realize that because they came to a lot of conference in that place. It was actually built over a dump, like a big, huge dump. And so, but they had all these buildings, and that's where they have the fair every year in our town. But what happened is over the years, the driveway into the parking lot just basically went that and like a roller coaster because everything settled and it didn't settle right. And so the guy that was driving the car, he just revs it up, and Sammy he had nitrous in the whole.
oh my goodness.
And he takes off, and we're talking. He's got those big bulbous tires, those big, huge tires, that big round tire. And he takes off, and he gets air, and I'm talking like 10 feet of air. You guys, he takes off, he lands, all 4 tires blow out, and then Rick goes up. He hits his head on the. Everybody did, and the guy in the back, hopefully he's healed. But he hit his neck, and so you had a bunch of guys walking around like this out of the car. I saw the vehicle. I came by after. I see both the vehicles are absolutely. The vehicle has no tires; they're gone. They're there. They're blown out. And so the guy gets on the phone. We'll get another vehicle, and then off they go. And Rick is the most amazing guy, you guys. He just goes to the flow. It didn't affect him. Affected the other guy, but they got in the car on the way. They went to the restaurant. And so I've seen things in ministry, you guys, inside of ministry. I've seen things outside of ministry. I've given prophetic words. I told this one lady, she came in it was a pastor of a huge church in Vacaville, California, like 900 or 1,000 people. I said, you know what? The river's coming to your church, and it's a sign you're going to see a wall of water. She looks at me and goes, I don't believe that. I said, yeah, in the natural, wall of water. You're going to see a wall of water. She goes, I don't believe it. And she said, I don't believe it, stuff like that. So she goes off to the bathroom. She comes back. There's a wall of water. You're right. There's a wall of water in the bathroom. That happened to me twice. I don't know. One time in a church, Sammy, Bedford, where was that? Pennsylvania. You prophesied about Pennsylvania. No, you didn't. It was
no. It's okay. Keep going.
Bedford, Pennsylvania. Sammy and I went the first time we had a conference. Just Sammy and I. Very first.
Strike
time.
One.
Remember that?
3 strikes, you're out.
They took a picture of my head and they blew it up. So the poster was a great.
No, Dad, they didn't blow it up. They just kept it regular size.
I said they blew my head up. Remember that? It said Charlie Robinson, the glory of God coming to Bedford, Pennsylvania. So we go in. I'm thinking, man, the glory of God's coming to Bedford, Pennsylvania. They got a lot of faith. Remember that, Sammy? That's when the lady come down the aisle. So I preached, man. It was the mixed review, man. I mean, tell you, it was like people sitting there, like there's like 120 people at Assemblies of God Church, and they were all sitting looking at me, and I'm talking about miracle signs and wonders, the glory, and I don't think anybody's buying it. And all of a sudden, I said, okay, I'm done. I said, I'm going to lay hands on people. If you want prayer, come on up. Well, this lady comes running up. She goes right around the back, comes running up the middle aisle. And I'm thinking, I have only heard about this. People run into the altars, right? Man, and I said, look at this hungry lady. She got about 15 feet away. I said, Lord, smack this woman in Jesus' name. And it was like she ran, Sammy was there. She ran like face first into like a plate of glass. And she bounced off and went rolling right into the pew and started laughing hysterically. And when she did, people looked, and about 90% of the church came up. And I pray, people are getting delivered, set free. The glory of God came. People got healed. So we went out, Sammy, I'm going to tell on you. We went out to a restaurant with the pastor in Bedford, Pennsylvania. And Sammy had level 10 nuclear hot wings. Remember
100%.
that? And he had to sign a waiver.
Yeah, that's right.
If you get level 10, you're going to have to sign the waiver. I don't know if your lips fall off, you can't sue the restaurant, or whatever. And Sammy's literally, after like a minute, he's sitting there. Of course, I didn't have any. He's sitting there going, God, I can't believe my mouth.
Can I tell you what I look like? You want to know what I look like? I look like Ben's face right now. He's got a little bit of red. Did you get some sun, bro? Bro, you got some sun. You look like you had about five nuclear wings right now. So if you're looking for what I look like, you just look
same color as Ivan's shirt.
I think you're the same color as my logo, bro. Like I'm concerned. I'm concerned you got too much sun, or the hat is too tight, and it's causing circulation issues right there.
And he's deflecting the fact that
deflecting
level 10 wings, and
that's okay.
Numb.
It's okay.
And so I'm talking to the pat, and I'll be done. I'll let somebody else.
Don't worry.
About this for 2 minutes, and then I said to the pastor, "What an amazing meeting!" I said, "I can't believe that woman. She come up for prayer. She was running down the aisle." He said, "Yeah, I told you about that woman." I said, "No, you never told me anything about a woman." He goes, "No, I told you about that woman." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, I sent you an email." I said, "Well, I never got it." He said, I said, "I never got it." He said, "That woman has been telling everybody on the internet for 2 weeks before you came that you're a false prophet. You're not of God." She emailed everybody in my church and said that as soon as Charlie Robinson finishes preaching, I'm going to come up the middle aisle and publicly rebuke him.
Wow.
And I said to the pastor, "Well, she didn't quite make it, did she?" You guys,
Come
she came
on.
to every meeting. All she did was laugh for 2 hours. I mean, she just laughed. God delivered her. And you know what? I don't get offended by that stuff, because God will take care of us.
What's cool is
yeah.
that so often you don't have to deal with the religious spirit. Like God will handle it. You just
exactly.
I find you don't have to really call it out.
God will just shove her into a glass.
And if he doesn't, we just have a Dave Smith that'll help take care of it.
I was just thinking of Dave, man. Dave knows how to deal with religious spirits.
You're just like winding my dad up. You're just dad. You're like ready to go. Oh my goodness!
You want to hear one of my craziest ministry things I've ever seen? Please. I'll try to share it like in 2 minutes.
No, take
all right.
So I'm in New Jersey, and there's an evangelist there, and preaching, and I'm like maybe saved 6 months in the Lord, and the power of God falls during worship, like that. Even like God was moving before this guy ever got up to speak, right? And so it's going to be a terrible story, but it's hilarious, and it gets better anyway. And so the pastor gets up there.
What a synopsis!
sports
Great
coat,
story.
tie, and he gets up there. He says, "We'd like to just introduce," and he says the name of the speaker. And this woman jumps off of the front pew on all fours, scurries like an animal, reaches up and goes to grab the speaker's crotch.
No.
What?
The pastor jumps in front of the speaker. This 60-year-old man starts to scream as this woman starts to squeeze the guy's
Oh,
scrotum.
no.
He's going, "Ah! Ah!" And this is in front of a 350-member church.
What?
And the elders and the deacons.
Ivan, I needed to put a PG-13 rating on this one. My goodness, what is going on?
Craziest story, the craziest thing I've ever seen. My mom was there. Like, there's so many people that can testify.
Oh my
How
goodness!
do you get the demon-possessed lady's hand off of the pastor's crotch without, you can't pull it? So the deacons and the elders are the karate chopping her arm. Finally, she lets go. They bring her to the back room. And the pastor was like, "Oh, it was terrible." But people were like, "Oh, what is happening?" But then he was like, "Ah, ah." Anyway, and so the woman gets free. And the story is she was a part of a cult that was one of those, I don't know, how to say it
Crotch
properly.
grabbing cults?
It was a sex cult.
Oh,
And they had conditioned her, when you hear the name of this speaker, kill him. So as soon as they introduced the speaker's name, the demon manifested in her, and she didn't remember anything. But she got
what?
free. She got free, and then she was laughing, getting hit with joy.
Was the-
Weirdest thing I've ever
what-
seen.
Was
in
the
all of my
pastor
life.
free?
The older pastor was.
Can I tell you? After that, he joined the Soprano team, ladies and gentlemen, right there.
Sammy,
My
these are-
goodness.
these are American guests. You've got to have an edit button there. When
Oh, yeah, for real?
Hold on.
Yes. Oh, sorry, Wesley. You're
Wow.
I'm at the top of this pyramid right
You
now.
are. At the top.
You are.
at the
You
top
look
of the
like you're being sacrificed right now.
Hey,
Well,
hey
we're
Sammy,
not-
why do
we're-
you have an Illuminati logo on this thing?
Oh,
Oh my! Here we go. Here we
I'm a
go.
Christian here. I don't want to be a part of something.
Wow.
Illuminati.
okay.
Wow.
Mom's calling me, you guys.
Yeah, you're really, Ivan. You're really taking it in new depths. We've had AfterBurn before, but
man.
someone said AfterBurp. I think that literally, that I gotta say is the wildest story I have ever heard, Ivan. I feel like all of our audience needs a sozo after this, and so the craziest thing would be, Ivan. I'll tell you this right now. Is that we just saw 16 people get saved. They heard your powerful testimony, but they won't remember that. They're going to remember the story that Ivan Roman shared about someone getting grabbed in between the pockets. So,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, but
They got free.
my dad
The
is
good
so.
part is they got free.
Hey, Dad, do you wish you could be like your picture behind you and just kind of roll like it looks like
Yeah.
you're speeding away?
I used to have almost 5,000 Facebook friends. I'll have 2 tomorrow, but that's okay, guys. Keep it up.
Oh, you guys, Ben, you got to start talking here.
Yeah,
Oh, Wesley
Wesley's
disappeared.
gone. Wesley's out of here.
He got offended.
He got offended.
Oh, there he is.
Talk to us.
Hi,
Talk to us,
Wesley.
Ben.
Oh my gosh.
Please. I need to know you're breathing
We
because
went from 60 to 100, so it must have worked. I don't
I'm
know
breathing.
what
I'm here.
you are. You're here.
Ben,
Stay with me, bro. Stay with
amazing
me.
tonight. Amazing, Ben. My
Ben,
number
talk to
one-
me. Talk
my
to me
number
about
one-
worship tonight. Talk to me about worship tonight.
You know when you prepare, and I honestly I try. My wife gets mad. She's like you should just
Comments.
you should just be. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Someone's starting a new business.
Ben,
My
Sammy,
goodness.
Sammy,
Ben, are you okay? We
keep
need to
moving.
pray for you because your face really is like. Is it the fire of God or is
I
it
have
like
I have no
high
idea.
blood pressure? I'm trying
No,
to figure out.
no, I'm. This is our introduction to each other, Ivan. So
Man.
but I feel honored because you're
He's-
copying my hat, so that's great.
He's blushing by meeting you.
Oh, stop. He needs that wall of water, Charlie, to refresh him.
I don't know if I should even tell this story, Sammy. It's probably not
Don't
a good
tell it,
story.
no.
Charlie's like,
My dad is he's
Well,
like,
you need to ask yourself this question, Ben. What would Ivan do?
well, maybe in honor of Ivan being on the broadcast. I don't know.
oh,
I'm
no,
usually
here we
pretty
go.
quiet,
No.
But we had a conference
Oh,
in
here we
Montreal.
Keep it PG, ladies and gentlemen. Keep it PG.
I'm the one that doesn't talk semi, but
Okay.
There might be a reason
Thank
after
you for
this.
joining us, Ben. We'll see you next week on E-Revival. Thank you. Next.
We need like a 12-second delay.
we went out and
We need a
And
5-minute delay.
we were having supper with the band. We were having supper with the band, and we went to this food court at a mall downtown. And I was there with, Jamie and Jer, the guys that, would play with me in Chelsea all the time. And we're just, eating supper. Jamie's enjoying like his Chinese food with like a bottle of Coke. And this lady comes up out of nowhere. She asks for directions to get out of the mall. This is between sessions. Sean Gaby speaking. There's another hilarious story there, but I don't know if Charlie wants me to share that. So,
No hilarious stories.
so we're in the food court and we're eating as a band. This lady comes up, asks for directions. Then all of a sudden, Jamie notices that his Coke bottle's there on the table. This lady starts to pick up his Coke bottle. And he's not saying anything because he doesn't want to be rude. And then after she asks for directions, she just takes his Coke bottle and leaves. So we called her the Coke thief. It was hilarious.
That's it?
Time out.
Anyways, we go back.
That was vicious, Dad. That was like straight up. You were like, Dad, time out. Can I tell you right now, Dad, you were so much like, no, don't share it, don't do it. And then when you hear, you're like, that's it.
So then we go back to the conference.
Oh, there's more.
And our friend Sean Gaby is preaching. And he's preaching about El Shaddai. And he's trying to explain. And we're in Quebec. That needs translation, ladies and gentlemen.
my dad is like,
Translate this. Just move ahead.
There you go. So Sean starts sharing, and Sean is serious. He's in like teacher mode, and he's like, El Shaddai means the many-breasted one. And so the translator is grasping for a way to translate this, and it becomes disaster that there were like hand gestures. There were hand gestures involved. It was a terrible thing. So,
ladies and gentlemen, did you just see? It's amazing. I can mute. I like this. I can literally just mute. My dad.
Let's
Dad,
get on another track here. Let's. Why don't we talk about yesterday?
I got another story.
You have another good story.
Seriously.
I got another good one.
Let me tell you about the first
anyone
time.
else.
Let me
Anyone
tell you about
else.
the first time Ivan was preaching in California. That was a fun experience.
Well, I remember the first time I saw you in our church. How old were you when you came to our church?
23?
20 or 30?
23 or 24.
Oh, 23, 24.
Yeah.
I remember. And you were in martial arts.
That was my story.
Yes.
I took down a demon-possessed lady.
Was it the same one at your? Was it the same one in New Jersey, or that meeting?
No, that was a different one.
In our church, you took her down?
No. But it was back then when I was like didn't really understand the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
And I was a catcher for a an evangelist. And this woman, she starts to growl, and she reaches like this to scratch the guy's eyes. And I didn't, so I grabbed it because all my martial arts experience, and I put it behind her back. I kicked the back of her knee, and I laid her on her face like a security guard.
What? How old was she?
I didn't care. She was attacking the speaker, so I threw her on the ground. And then the speaker shoved me and was like, "What are you doing? It's a demon. Jesus can cast it out." And in front of the whole church, I was trying to.
Well, you've been at some amazing
thing
meetings there, Ivan. That's. I tell you, things come out of the woodwork when you're around. That's good.
I was so young, I didn't know.
I used to go witnessing with Jeff.
Time out. Who's eating a sandwich? Wesley, what are you doing? Are you packing your kid's lunch?
No.
He's eating his kid's lunch.
My goodness.
Charlie, come on. You're supposed to help. You're not helping.
Bro.
These poor people are convinced I have kids.
Bro, that was for the children, Doc. Well, like guys, if you just joined us, welcome to AfterBurn here.
Sammy, it's after 30 minutes. We need to hit the road.
Welcome to my TED Talk.
Are you ready to go, Dad?
Yeah, I'm ready. So I'm going to say goodnight.
Awesome.
Good night, Charlie.
34 minutes.
Thank you so much, Dad. Absolutely love you having you on. I'll pull you off. All right.
We love you, Charlie.
Take me off.
See ya. He's like, take me out, get me out, get me out,
Get me out of here.
Let's just go a couple more minutes here, because I know people are having a good time. We're having some fun here. So,
Some of us are having some fun here.
what? Come on now, this is a good night. What a good night for real though. What like all kidding aside, awesome
No,
night.
yeah,
tonight.
it was an awesome night.
Like
How many people got saved?
16
Come on.
16 people. We're at
awesome.
Now, is that an e-revival record?
yeah 16. We
Yeah.
had 15 one time. 16 is
sure.
there is another. So
And
I think Ivan. I think you like traumatized my dad.
I think he's
Like
offended.
I
need to
think
text
he
him.
was like so nervous. Like that was
About the-
hilarious.
about the
I was
crotch
like, oh
story?
my goodness.
The crotch story thing.
Yeah, I think so. I was a little bit disturbed. That was pretty intense for your first
I have
time.
way
For your
more
first
stories.
time on e-revival. I know it's a true. Listen, I know it's a true story.
I've
It's
seen
just
the craziest
when you
things with
first
the
come on
monitor.
when you first come on the broadcast though, it's like you usually start off. You got levels. You got like an entry level story, and all of a sudden you drop the mother of all bombs in the story to start. Like you set the bar. You set the bar at demon possessed, grabbing where you shouldn't. But I'll say this, guys, for tonight, I can tell you right now, honestly, when's the last time? And this is a question. When's the last time you've seen 16 people really in a meeting get saved?
Yeah, come on.
Just being honest with you, like, and I'm not just talking like, like I feel like every night we're seeing anywhere between, some nights we've had 1, 2, 3, 10, 15, now 16. I think that's the most we've ever had in one night is 16 people giving their life to Jesus. And I
And
want to
the
talk.
most viewers
Yeah.
at once too.
That was powerful.
Yeah, I
And
think
so-
that was the first time we've ever broken over 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was wild, you guys. Now I might have pushed the broadcast like 40 times that night. I remember when my dad texts me, he's like, "Wow, you've really asked people to share like 15 times." I was like, "Okay, you know what? I will calm it down." But I felt tonight though something special. Like I really did. I want to talk about really quickly here. Before we transition, because it's 36 minutes in. I told my wife, I really only have a couple minutes here. I don't want international couch ministries tonight,
If
but
79 people share the broadcast right now.
Yeah, then 79.
no, but for real though, you guys, we're seeing something happen. We're seeing like
Yeah.
this unprecedented move that's taking place right now, where all of a sudden now we're seeing people come in online. The church is changing. I want to talk to Ivan right now because you're pastor too. So you're pastor, and you've been a prophetic evangelist sometimes. Prophet for sure. And I want to talk about just from your perspective when you hear this having your foot in both realms. Like, what is this? What are you feeling? Like
It's interesting. It's interesting, Sammy. For those people that are watching the broadcast, not just now, but other broadcasts, and we're saying share the broadcast. I think that it's important for people to understand the power of share, like you say, because I feel like it's not just so that we can get more views. It's not just so that we can get higher algorithms. I mean, all this stuff is a benefit, but I believe that there's people that would never tell people about Jesus. They won't go out on the streets because boldness is now another level. All they have to do is share the broadcast with somebody that doesn't know Jesus. And I'm finding that people in our community are so willing to just get on, share the broadcast, and send some of the messages to people. It's like using the social media platform. I feel like it's actually empowered the army of God. It's empowered people in the church to, just by the share button, which it sounds almost cheesy if you're being honest. You're like, share. But honestly, we're seeing during this season of COVID, the online ministry, people are really, really reaching out to one another. And I don't know, it just feels to me like
if I can say this too, I want to celebrate our online community here because of the fact that I get leaders. Yesterday, I had Derek Schneider. I had over 100 pastors message me yesterday. 100.
Come on.
You guys. I don't know the last time we've ever had 100 pastors message us saying, we want more information. We want to know how you're doing this. And so I get a lot of my pastor friends phoning me up and saying like, Sammy, do you have that many unsaved people on your Facebook page? And I said, honestly, it really doesn't have that much to do with me. And they're shocked. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, it has really nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
The majority of the people that are on my page are Christians. I said it has everything to do with all those that are watching here
true.
and that are willing to share the broadcast. And I honestly believe this. When people do this, they're going to be shocked when they go to heaven and they realize Jesus is going to say to them, like, well done, good and faithful servant. But like, here's the reward. You're going to wonder, like, God, how did this happen? And I honestly feel like people took the risk to share the broadcast. And some of you are like, well, I didn't preach the gospel, but you know what the Lord told me? You shared the opportunity.
Yeah.
You shared the opportunity. There's something about, see, I think sometimes we get this a little bit mixed up. We're always looking, you know, our mindset of sharing the gospel has to be someone on a microphone, kind of like what we're doing right now, you know, sharing the gospel. But the truth is, I actually think it's more about, you know, people bringing people into an opportunity to say yes to Jesus.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded by, you know, you look at the different disciples that were pulled in, you know, by their brothers, you know, or you know, Philip with Nathaniel, different ones that you see getting pulled in, that all of a sudden their lives were wrecked. But not just wrecked. Think about this for a second, friends. Like the inheritance that comes out of that, you know, I just think about all these stories, these testimonies, that there's other people attached to that downline of all those souls that are getting saved. Like, we're a product of other people investing, and that downline is massive. And so those that are watching, I want to say this to you guys. Thank you so much. Every time you share, every time you take a risk, and some of you, you know, maybe some people are like, well, like, you wonder, like, you know, what are my friends going to think? But you do it anyways.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you are populating heaven, friend. And it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
What your friend's gonna think is that you care enough for the actual like destination of their soul.
Yeah.
You care enough to like love them enough to even though it may be simple. And that's the thing is, like, not to kind of go down this path, but like the church as a whole has to stop criticizing the advancement of technology. There's churches that are still afraid of using augmented keys on a keyboard, or they think drums are demonic. But here we are in the era that we're living in, and like all of you guys have been around quite a bit. You remember when it all of a sudden like became a big deal that God was healing people through text message?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then we were all like, but low key, people were bothered by people being on their phones.
It's true.
But now we have people that are streaming, like, you know, well, prior to COVID, people were streaming services while you're speaking to their own private audience.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like using Marco Polo, using Facebook, using Messenger, using all these different type of...
He's still checking up on us. It's like Big Brother. He's like, I'm watching you. What you gonna say?
Listen, I'm concerned that we really traumatized your dad.
No, I talked to him. And
So-
my dad had a conference call with his shirt, and E5 said everything was okay.
And so I think, you know, what is happening now is just the beginning. What's going to happen when we move into more or of a virtual reality or augmented reality, you know, and things like we don't realize that there's already been things that have been kind of placed into society that we thought were just fun and games, but in all actuality, it begins to frame everything up for us. Like, you think about the game Pokemon Go, which created an augmented reality game on people's cell phones. But imagine what we're going to be able to do in 10 years.
Bro, you're going all gamer on us now.
I'm going tech. Like virtual reality. Like, you know, there's already major name like speakers that are using like holographic images of themselves in different nations. That way they're able to do like dual broadcasts at the same time.
Okay. Here's and I 100% agree. I was trying to wrap this up. And all of a sudden, we just opened up a can of. All of a sudden, right now, I'm like, man, we're going to start talking about holograms, and I actually think Wesley, behind you, there's a Pikachu behind you, right there, and no, but here's the thing, though, guys, for real, all kidding aside, you guys are so bad. You guys are so.
Your dad's literally like,
what's Wesley talking? He's literally trashing you from the comments now. My goodness.
Your dad is trolling me. I'm gonna have to block him.
No, for real. No. What you need to do is block the bobblehead. But no, for real though,
I was
guys.
like speaking in tongues. I don't know what was going on.
That's because you.
Ivan, you're the one.
Here's what's gonna happen. Ivan's gonna message me tomorrow and go, bro, tell me more about that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. My dad is like, look at this. Look at this. Should I come on? Hey, Dad. The only
Wesley's
thing.
talking about like aliens and planets, and Ben hasn't breathed in the last 20 minutes. And
Ben is trying to break the world record for holding his breath, ladies and gentlemen, right now.
Ben is blending into the background.
When you're talking about technology, it made me think of a camp meeting we were invited to do worship at.
You guys realize I'm trying to close the broadcast, but keep
my wife's
going.
texting me, where are you at? I'm like, I'm at the AfterBurn. She's like, the what? She's getting nervous right now. Not sure what's going on.
Oh, don't worry.
So we're in a service up north. They invited us to come do worship, and this guy is preaching all about Amazon and drones and technology, and you should shoot them down with your rifles and all this crazy stuff.
Wow.
And so it was really wild. And we got up there, and they were like, oh yeah, our people love to worship. We're like, awesome, we're coming up. And they're like, they love hymns, and I'm like, hymns, okay. Like the whole weekend we had like 10 sessions of just hymns, so it was great. But this guy, the highlight of it was the Amazon drones, and just like it was. Yeah,
all right,
it was like
guys,
a highlight service.
Guys, I'm gonna use my executive authority here tonight.
You leave, I'll keep going and talking about tech.
No, I don't trust you. And if I laughed, I think this thing could go crazy, bro. No, I'm joking. I 100% trust Wesley. Except for when he brings up Pikachu and Pokemon Go, then I get a little concerned. I'm like, bro, we need to get you on anointedsingles.com. We need to get you on there and get the fire falling, bro.
Ivan doesn't know about this.
Oh, he doesn't. That's right. He doesn't know. That's been one of our jokes. Anointedsingles.com. But all right, listen, we need to pivot drastically here tonight. Like I feel like a runaway. Someone was. But guys, this is hard. This is hard to land the plane. I feel like it's already crashed, but I'm going to try to land the plane.
We're not trying to land it. We're trying to recover it from the water.
Recover it. My dad even went. Oh, wait. Now look who's coming back.
With a different shirt.
And he changed his shirt. Dad, six down was offended. Your shirt is offended right now. But here's the deal, Ivan. I know you got to go. I need to go.
The year is
but Ivan,
green.
wait one second. Thank you so much, Ivan, for being with us, my friend. That was so powerful.
My kids want me to go.
We need to get you on again. Love you, buddy.
Do it. Love you guys.
All right. See you, Ivan.
Bless you, man.
All right, you guys.
About time.
Oh my goodness, my dad just went off. What happened?
He just pieced out.
Did he really? Is he coming? Is he out too?
No idea.
Oh wow, he just left.
Maybe he thought you were saying goodbye.
Oh wait, and he's back.
And he's back, sort of.
And he's muted.
And he's muted.
You're muted. Your mic is muted.
How are we doing?
There you go.
We're good.
Perfect. All right, no, but I want to save this broadcast at the end. I'm trying. Oh my goodness. You're having way too much fun, aren't you? Oh, here we go. All right.
Am I there?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
I want to end with this though, guys. All those that are watching, thank you. For real. Thank you guys so much. You make this like incredible, and we love laughing with you guys. Part of the reason why we host AfterBurn is just we want to have a good time and just kind of unwind a little bit. Like after a meeting, I feel for all of us, it feels like you drank like 5 Red Bulls in the spirit, and so you're kind of buzzing.
And Sammy, Ben will be providing Sozo appointments for Sozo all this week, and he'll be at the John Bevere Clinic. In
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that was.
You guys.
Oh, your wife loves your red face. She said it matches her purse.
Oh.
No.
Lord, help us.
No. All right. But for real though, guys, like all those that are watching, thank you for being with us. We can't do this without you. Last words. We're gonna end it. I need to end it, guys. My wife wants me home pretty soon.
Okay.
And but here, last words here. Pentecost tomorrow. And I know that we've all said this. Jesus did everything that could be done on that cross. He when he died, when he said it's finished, I still believe it's finished. I do believe that there's these opportunities though where their church can re-experience, and if I could use that word, or encounter
Yeah.
the reality of what Jesus has done.
Come on.
And I feel that in this next season. Is there something that we could just, impart or just release as an encouragement to those that, they're feeling like the scenario, the landscape is changing drastically as we speak. For some, their city or their state or province is opening up. Some are still under lockdown, but there's lots of shifting that's taking place. What could we just release, over them?
Huh?
Who wants to start? Wesley was thinking about virtual
wasn't.
meetings. No.
I would say this is what I would say, and this is what I would pray for you, is the wisdom of the Lord. And because within the wisdom of God, you will find how to reach your people. Because the people group in your city, in your region, have a unique DNA and have a unique way to be reached. And it's finding that to reach them.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You need to do what the Lord's instructing you to do, because there may be like, you could be in a culture where broadcasting actually is going to have a negative repercussion on your overall community.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I was a part of churches and I actually tried to get them to stop, because I was like, if you do this, you'll actually bring people to come back. And so I feel like you just got to get the word of the Lord for your region, for your city, and watch what he's doing. Just ask him what he's doing in your city and then partner with him.
Yeah.
Super easy.
I just want to say a big shout out first. Hey, Crystal, great to have you on here.
Crystal.
Hi, Crystal.
LaValle, she runs
bless you.
First Nations Voices. She's on TV on a couple different programs. Absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
We need you on here. I gotta get you on because you're so much fun,
great.
and just I love the stories about what God's doing. Just with I think it's actually called First People's Voice, if I'm not mistaken. I think I made a mistake there. But it's so good to have you here. Thank you. We absolutely love you. And we got to get you on at some point, because we do. We need some more women on this here, huh? Like I'm kind of getting like, I'm just feeling that we need to do this. Now, what would be great is if we had a whole bunch of, like, if my wife, I'm trying so hard. I am trying to get Kristen to do, she's like, I don't know, Sammy. She's like, I got a lot of dirt on you. No. But for real though, like, in the sense, it'd be great
I
to.
got more.
But honestly though, like, it would be awesome to get some more. We need it, and we need to get all, like, we just, like, it'd be so much fun, and I think a lot of you would love it. But Ben, what about yourself, man? I'll put it this way, what are you believing God for in this next season?
Oh man, we're believing God for a lot here. I mean, just specifically because God spoke to us really clearly about where we shifted our ministry. And so I'm just really believing God that when we make the most, and this is my word for everyone, make the most of every opportunity. If COVID has taught you anything, anytime you're around anybody, if the Holy Spirit's speaking to you, just open up your mouth and the Lord will fill it. And there's always an opportunity to reach someone with something good that the Lord has done in your life. Surely there must be many stories of what the Lord has done. Just share that. I mean, people need hope. You have the riches inside of you. You have Christ Jesus, the hope of glory, the hope of the nations. There's nobody that doesn't want Jesus. When they finally figure out who he actually is, that everybody wants him, right? So I would just say, make the most of every single opportunity. Maybe there are people you've never talked to before about Jesus, but you're with them all the time. This is the time for you to start to talk to them about Jesus, because they need hope and they need help. I would say that there's even family members during this time, even the people that you think are strong are not as strong as you think. And that's been hard for me in this season, is that there've been some people even around me that, I always figured, they'd be the strongest ones, and actually they're the ones that need the most prayer. And it's been difficult, to be really honest. So, I would just say, make the most of every opportunity. But for us, we're excited to hit the ground running. We have a lot of new Christians. Since coming into, some of you guys don't know, we transitioned to, renting in an Anglican church, and we have a tremendous amount of favor in this church. They're hungry for the gifts of the Holy Spirit. We've been seeing healing. Maybe some of you were on that night where I shared about the priest in his induction ceremony. He was feeling really sick. I went over and laid hands on him, and he fainted in my arms. And I was praying, laying hands on him, and he foamed at the mouth, and he vomited on the ground. And then he looked up and he said, something came out of me. And there were the members of the church, old members of the church that were there all around, and they saw the power of God. We prayed for his heart, and that condition in his heart was completely healed. The doctor said he was completely medically verified healed. So that started an excitement, even in some people that were just new believers around my age coming to the Anglican church. And now they're coming out and being part of our community, and they're experiencing miracles and talking to people about Jesus, and their businesses are being blessed. So Sam, I'm expecting to hit the ground running. I'm expecting to actually host some conferences this year. Right there in St. Lambert. We're going to have a venue for like 300 people, man. So
you're
I'm
inviting
pumped.
me. I'm inviting myself.
Come on. It's going to be awesome.
I'm coming. It's going to be awesome. All right, Mr. Green Shirt, Mr. Charles Robinson. I'll put it this way. You've traveled, a lot, seen a lot, seen moves of God. Seen churches, areas get touched. With all of that, what are you believing for? I think it's something that's big, because the typical term that we hear is, I want to see revival. But when you've seen revival, when you've seen things, you've seen the good, the bad. I'll put it this way: when you've seen the full spectrum of the great things and sometimes the ugly things in ministry. And I feel like we are at a crossroads of an opportunity right now as a church. What are you believing for? What's your vision for this next season, Ed? Is God showing you something? What are you asking the Lord for right now?
Yeah. So, I prayed at the beginning, in the middle of March, God, I don't know how you're going to do it, but just tap in people who don't know the Lord into our Facebook family. So that was number one. But God visited me on February the 2nd. And began to speak to me about a revival of righteousness that was coming, and that it would look different from any other move of God, and that God would come, and that the river of life would come out of heaven and hit the earth. And it's going to. I have a friend in outside of San Francisco. He had a dream. It was more like a night vision. He saw the river of light just pop out of heaven and cover the whole earth. And then he had 40 dreams in 40 nights. He's a Hispanic pastor. Lost most of his friends because Jesus taught him. He said, you're going to have to learn how to drink from the river of life. And we've been teaching that for years, and how to drink from the river and take your barrel. And then he saw me on YouTube, and he came to the meeting. And God told him revival's coming, but he didn't know how to do it. And so then when I got up and I received the offering actually that night, and I said, we're going to sow tonight for revival. You know what? There's some things you can just pray about. Other things you have to pray and give. Is the way it is. Cornelius didn't just pray and the angel came. Cornelius prayed and he gave. That's what the angel said. And his giving came up before God as a memorial. So when I preached that night, he gave everything he had, and his daughter and their church. He emptied the bank account. And the next day when they got together for prayer, the glory of God hit, and the river of life hit that church. They are such a big church now. They went into revival. All these wonderful Hispanic people got saved, hundreds of them. I'm believing for that to be replicated all over the earth, that the river of life will get poured into the church. We'd take another drink. Jesus said, if we're thirsty, come to me and drink. Out of your belly, the river is going to flow. I'm telling you, the river is going to flow out of the church in the middle of darkness and dryness, and in the middle of the desert, the streams are about to flow. And I believe that we're going to see a different side of what God can do, and a powerful side. It's going to be at the same time. It's going to be the goodness and the severity of God all at the same time. You can write that down, the goodness and the severity of God. But God is going to break through like we've never seen before.
Come on.
Wow. Guys, okay. I'm texting. I'm trying to coordinate with my boss here at the same time. But if I can say this, the last, man, we've done this now for, I think this is my 8th week. Is this our 6th e-revival?
I have no idea.
I think it is.
It's my 3rd.
I think so.
I think it's 6. This is number 6. And, I've been doing the broadcast now for 8 weeks, like about 2 months. and we really didn't start pushing in for souls up until really Saturday, the first Saturday. So it's like this is like our 4th week, kind of like our anniversary here today. It's 4 weeks like today, and I just did a little bit of the math, and we've seen in 4 weeks today, we have seen 196 people get saved.
Wow.
And so
Come on.
it's been absolutely
that we know of, Sammy.
That we know of.
I know that
Yeah.
many, and that's good. We can only
So-
share the amount that you know of.
So this is where I just want to encourage all those that are watching. If God can do that for those that maybe you don't know, He also wants to take care of the ones that you love today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think about this, guys. We talk about church growth. We talk about all these different things. I can say is that the harvest is ripe. And I said this a couple of days ago. This is why people ask, like, why do you do this? Like sometimes people ask me, like, why do you have 6 people on? Because it takes a whole group of people to see the harvest come in.
Yeah.
And I would rather run into the harvest field with my friends
Yeah.
than try to do it alone.
Come on.
And if I could say this, is that you can't do what I do right now for 8 weeks without having your friends on board. It's not
It's
a
true.
chance. You can't do it alone. You'll burn out.
Like,
But yeah.
go ahead. No.
No,
Sorry.
I was just going to say, because I got to end it here, guys. It's an hour. I need to honor my wife, but all those that are watching, seriously, you guys make it possible, and
Yeah.
we love you and we appreciate you today, and we're thankful that for your prayers, for your support, and your encouragement. Some of you've messaged Voice of Revival and just saying that you're praying for us, you're encouraging us, you like our broadcasts. All of that means so much to us because it gives us the strength to keep going. And thank you. And I know that every soul that gets saved, you are a huge part of that because you are a voice of revival. And so, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm going to let you guys all go. Thank you. And I'll end the broadcast right here, friends. Have a great Pentecost Sunday, and we will see you on Monday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. God bless.